Welcome back to the league that means nothing on Go Again Gaming.
Welcome back to Go Again Gaming, and welcome back to the League That Means Nothing Season 4. We're in round 6, so it's the last round, and you may have noticed I have a very special guest, someone you don't normally see here. AgroBlaze96, Zach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. You're going to be the one that's miserable. We're about to watch a victor try and push a boulder uphill like Sisyphus taking on Gravy Bones.
It's a very good
Uh,
analogy. It can be done, but it's
abs-
very, very difficult.
Absolutely. Now, this is a local victor of mine. A
Okay.
very good friend of mine taking on a guy I've met a few times. What is kind of your plan as Victor going into this matchup?
So you really have one option, in my opinion, and it's to high roll them. You just have to roll hot and put them on the back foot and get Gravy blocking as much as possible. The more you can make them block, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah. Do you think anything from Guardian Mastery Pack might have helped? This was obviously before Super Slam release.
So, I mean, for Mastery Pack, we got some pretty cool tools. Nothing that really helps a ton in the Gravy matchup. There are some people who like to go for the fatigue game plan, and if you're on like trying to fatigue Gravy Bones, which is very tough to do, Peck Perfect could help a lot in that slot. Just trying to get cards out of the deck, but you're also kind of like helping Gravy fuel their game plan. So it's a weird
Sure.
line to walk.
Yeah, please discard a card. Okay, if you insist, I guess I'll put this ally in the graveyard. Um,
Exactly.
this is a big shout out to the Victor player in particular, a very good friend of mine, Podrick Nirouche. She's a local. Well, did okay in the league. Hopefully, this game isn't absolutely terrible. What a way to close out the league. Um, but yeah, only way to find out how it happens is to throw it over to the gameplay. So we'll do that right now. So we have Podrick rocking tectonic plating, making a seismic surge to start. Would
hmm
you be more in line with a tunic plan here, thinking the game's going to go long, or
So
what?
I've tried a couple of strategies because the game normally does go longer. Tech plating can be good for blocking if you know you're trying to block out a ton and like deny gold when you can. But I'm a firm believer that Tunic is the way to go in this matchup, just because I like to play Pummel as often as I can. So the more I can do that, the better off I feel like I'm going to be.
Yeah, just trying to force the victor to always, or the gravy to always have to think about the potential of pummel, threatening command and conquer pummel, something like that.
Exactly, exactly. And you'll notice that our gravy player is actually on Crown of Dominion. So a lot of gravies are on Balance of Justice or Crown of Dominion. They're not on Crown of Providence very often. So we get twice as much value out of a Command and Conquer Pummel as we do in a lot of other matchups because they're not really able to actively block it or set it up.
And here we have a gravy activation, getting rid of that initial gold. One thing that I didn't mention yet is the awkwardness of gold baited hook in this matchup, as Victor wants to set up gold, and
hmm
gravy, you know, everyone thinks, oh, gold baited hook, it makes a gold. I'm like, no, it steals gold.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have a golden tipple coming in. Do we have an ally to discard to it and just looks like our gravy activation didn't hit us anything, but no, we have a sea leg, so we still get a card draw. We get that gold generation. So the rum and the gold, possibly a follow up after this. My question is, how important is preventing this second gold from the hook?
So this is one that I would jump in front of pretty quickly here. Trying to if we have gold on board, we want to prevent the steal at all possible costs most times. But
Hmm.
trying to deny gravy gold can be very, very impactful. So yeah, trying to deny the hook value is absolutely peak. And the one other thing I will say is that the gold kiss rum that was generated there from the sea legs, that is very terrifying early because getting Gravy Bones off of their Mage Master boots is like one of the big plays that you're looking for as Guardian. You want to really try and slow them down by getting them to use it early, and having that rum is just critical for them.
Yeah, and we see Aura Mage is used for the block here. Just in my experience as someone who played quite a bit of Gravy, the second gold is so much more important than the first. Like the first one's important, but the second one means you get a free roll activation and you still have your get out of jail free gold just in case.
Exactly. I
Looks
will
like
say your
Chris just
friend Patrick repping the Victor mat. You love to see it. You love to see it.
absolutely no. Her other thing that she's been doing recently has been collecting all of the Guardian hammers in cold foil.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, a serious Guardian gamer, you know?
I love that. I love that so much. I actually opened a gold foil, or I'm sorry, not a gold foil, a cold foil Miller's Grindstone out of like heavy hitters when it came out. So I've just incidentally had one laying around when it ended up being pretty good over the last like couple metas.
No wonder you always use it in your Victor lists.
You're on to me. You're catching on.
Yeah. My question is, did you know the big square window in the back of Miller's Grindstone? Did you ever look at that and think, why is there a mark on my card?
It was so bizarre at first. I honestly thought I got a misprint the first time I ever saw it. So
And here we have Chris Chalk playing a scuba salty sea dog, which was gotten off a call to the grave, and using that to put the Gold Kiss Rum on the back of the deck, getting that second gold regardless, and coming in for 4. This is a tech that has been seen a lot of growth since Singapore, and
mhm.
represents yet another ally that you just have to kill because the passive gold generation again is going to cause Victor problems throughout the game. Uh, so we are closing up, blocking with a chokeslam. We have a seismic surge, but we've kept 3 cards in hand, card in arsenal. Pitching a sink below to
Ooh.
resurge, and then just clearing the scuba. Not the best hand I've ever seen, but staying disciplined, making sure there's nothing on board.
So I have to say I'm a little surprised to see the pitching to sink below. I kind of assumed we would have blocked with the sink below and saved the life where we could have
Yeah.
there. Perhaps Patrick looking to set that up for later in the game, maybe like a little bit of a different strategy that I'm used to taking. I'm curious to see if
Yeah.
that matters or how that pans out.
Here we have a portside exchange discarding a sawbones into a golden tipple. Is there any discard on this? There is. It's another sea legs. That's a second rum. Getting those double ally turns is going to be pretty easy for Gravy Bones going through the rest of this match. And I think, yeah, Podrick with the test of strength here, winning with a thunk. Not bad.
Ooh, pretty good.
Yeah, you got to take those clash values where you can get it, I assume, because you can't clash with an ally.
Not being able to clash with the allies is a little awkward. It does make it clunky at times. So like you see you see Padre giving up the test of strength on like a 2 or 3 power golden tipple, where in a lot of other matchups we'd look to get maximum value out of it. But here you're just looking to get any value out of it.
Yeah, you heard it here, Josh Scott. Agroblaze would love for you to errata clash.
Please, please. We were
Alright.
talking about that on my stream the other night.
I know, that's what I saw that. We've got a Gravy Bones activation here. What does Chris have pitching to the bin? A sunken treasure. I wonder what he's digging for. It's got to be something big.
I,
Otherwise,
I'm honest. I'm assuming that, he pitched a Sunken Treasure, Chris pitched a Sunken Treasure and discarded one, probably just trying to look for a more effective hand. Anytime, like, Chris put that second rum into play. So anytime you can go double ally is looking to be pretty solid.
yeah. And obviously, the Gravy activation is just kind of free in these
Hmm.
situations. Maybe digging for something slightly more useful to do on his turn. Sunken Treasure, unless you're snagging a Golden Sun, you're not really hitting anything for Victor.
Hmm.
And here we have the hook on the Sawbones coming in for 6. We're already
So
starting to have a gold problem.
you really see the test of strength value here on this turn because Patrick was able to block the golden tipple and then still have 4 cards, so they were able to block the second golden tipple and now put 2 cards in front of the sawbones if they choose, and then just send the hammer to go ahead and clear sawbones. At least that's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm curious to see how they play this out.
Yeah, and great news, Miller's Grindstone 4 power. It avoids getting blown out by something like Fearless Confrontation.
Yep.
Uh, Taking the full 6
Ooh,
and giving up the gold.
interesting.
Maybe we have an aggressive hand, some go again, something like that.
Probably a zealous belting, if I had to guess, an out muscle, rouse the ancients, maybe.
Performance bonus. Now that's not one I'm used to.
This is some very interesting tech that's actually discussed in a very a lot of people in the community go very back and forth on whether they think this is good or not. Obviously in this situation where Podrick was able to arsenal on turn 0, it looks absolutely insane. You're able to clear an ally and draw a card, so now a Spinal Crush could be very, very good for Podrick to start to get back into this game. But there's a lot. Ooh, I love this Command and Conquer. No way out of this one. 2 cards in hand, threatening it. I love it.
I always love the Command and Conquer Guardian staple. Those Guardian staple cards, almost exclusive to the class. Pummel, Command and Conquer.
Tunic, Command and Conquer, Pummel, all of the great Guardian staples.
Yeah. Basically, a class that is occasionally held together by broken generic cards, but we persevere. We've
So it
got
looks like Chris
new
just
ways.
took 5.
Yeah, took the full
Interesting.
thing to the face, lost a tip the barkeep, and is now Gravy Bones activation, discarding Whaler Humperdinck.
Ooh. That's terrifying.
Yeah. I think the fatigue plan on the side of a victor really depends on just how many Whaler Humperdinks your opponent is running. If it's 2, you're in a bit of trouble.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
There are definitely games where you can deal with the first one, given certain circumstances.
Yeah. Like most decks would play just the one, but forcing a Guardian to throw a premium attack, something like a Choke Slam, straight into a Whaler, and just being like, yeah, you got to do it. If you don't, the game will end.
There are a few cards that fit really well in the arsenal for that exact reason. Like E-Strike is a great one. I believe that Red Boulder Drop as our newest edition is a great one to have in the arsenal, so that you can kind of wait to clear the Whaler whenever needed.
Getting more
Clash of
value out of a
Might.
Clash of Might, revealing a Clash of Might. Fun fact, that's a blue Clash of Might, that's a yellow Rigor Mortis. It has higher power. For
saw
those who are
Podrick start
wondering
to
what
reach for the gold.
Yeah, thinking about reclashing here, I think you just have to take this. This is definitely not going to be a gold main estate kind of game anyway, with the rate that Podrick is burning her money.
So I actually find it really interesting because I think getting rid of the gold is actually correct here, oddly, because it serves a dual purpose. You're able to turn off the value, there's less value from gold baited hook if you decide to go through the gold plan. And you're also trying to set up a might, which could help you deal with a problematic card like Whaler Humperdinck if Chris makes a decision to put it into play. Now, that does seem improbable, but it's kind of like a 2-for-1 value plan if that's the route that Patrick decides to go.
Yeah, it's a very awkward one. And now you obviously might not know this. Podrick has been having some awkward clashes this league. Lost a clash to a Fang in round 1 who forgot to take out their 7 power attack.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy. That sounds like something that would happen to me.
Yeah, on video no less.
That's hilarious. That's so funny.
Yeah, Chris still 3 cards in hand. Playing Humperdinck probably not going to happen because you don't want to play an ally and never attack with it. That is one thing I learned is if an ally comes down, you need to swing with it because you need to assume it's just going away. So we're following up, pitching a yellow to a saltwater swell. We know it's a rigor mortis on top, so that's not going anywhere. All right, blocking with a buckling blow.
Mm-hmm.
Chris just moving to Arsenal. All things considered, Podrick I would think, got out of that turn pretty unscathed for how bad it could have gone.
Any turn where you're able to sneak out by, not getting, not there's no ally put in play, I think is ultimately a win for the victor player. Ooh, and another command and conquer here.
And Chris just says, "Send me the bill." Yeah,
Wow.
loses another. Didn't we just see this turn cycle?
I know, right? I feel like we're watching this on a loop.
Tip the barkeep goes away, but Chris Chalk has a mite so generously given by Victor Goldmain. Never let it not be said that Victor Goldmain isn't a man of the people.
Ooh, Tipple pitching eye is such a good play.
Yeah, I play the deck without I personally because I don't have one. I played it with
Okay.
I in practice for nationals, and let me tell you, it is a game changer.
I firmly believe that.
You're just like, oh, I'm just cheating. This is great. This it's straight up legal cheating. No, no, Chris, that is a golden tipple for 2 whole damage.
That's right.
Yeah, can't just give up the Aura Mages to this. Have to give a card or actual armor.
One thing that's also worth noting is that Padrick's on civic steps,
Hmm.
as opposed to quick dodge flexors, which we see from a lot of people with the introduction of, Riches of Tropodani from High
Hmm.
C. So it's interesting. I've seen a few people playing civic steps lately because they think it actually has better play into matchups like Gravy Bones. So I'm curious to see how that plays out this game.
I think part of it is to do with just not having quick dodge flexors from my
Okay.
memory of her list, but also being a Tropodani's biggest hater.
This was also a very interesting point of discussion when High Seas was released. I think I slammed Riches of Tropodani into my Victor deck about as fast as humanly possible when I was able to get the card.
Not unreasonable. Crack a gold. Pot of greed.
It's very powerful. That like blocking rune chance with it can be some really cool stuff. I'd actually be
Yeah.
curious to know why Podrick doesn't like it.
I think her vindication was, I don't know if you saw the first time Chris Ayali revealed one to a clash on stream and then proceeded to lose the game. And it's just like, there's enough misses in the deck. I don't want more misses.
Yeah, there was definitely had to be some reworking, with Test of Iron Grip and, Riches of Tropodani. There had to be some reworking of the deck to really see what that sweet spot is, where those numbers land. So,
I'd be curious to see how that's going to change now with Super Slam as well, with the resurgence of brutes.
yep, absolutely.
But we are laying down another Clash of Might, and I guess hoping for the best this time around. Don't want to be giving up any more. Like, Victor's a nice guy and all, not like his brother, but doesn't want to be giving up too much value.
No, for sure. There's definitely some turns where Victor probably wants to block a little bit more than
Yeah,
than Lyeth.
my experience with Lyeth has been very strange. I did a little. Obviously, we alluded to it. You stream all the time, and I've watched some of your Lyeth gameplay, and it's just very. Oh god! Oh no!
Oh, you hate to see it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, test of strength off the Clash of Might reveal feels so bad.
Do you know what? And we're going to reclash. The worst part is now Chris gets basically a free compass activation, knowing
All
what's
of
on top of
that,
his deck.
man. So you hate to see the reclash for the tie. Anytime your
Yeah,
opponent reveals a 6, it feels so bad. That is possibly the worst clashing situation you could take right there.
absolutely. But at the same time, you got to do what you got to do.
For
Oh,
sure.
about to block with a red and a yellow, like a Spinal and a Golden Sun, some of your power cards. But hey, one thing about Guardian cards is they block 3. Kind of important.
So I imagine the
What?
Surge not getting too much use here.
No.
Yeah.
Hammer takes out the Rigor Mortis and just classic Vic Guardian versus Board State deck gameplay. Stay disciplined, send the hammer. Stay disciplined, send the hammer. Squeak value where you can. But we might be like looking at these life totals the way they are for a little while.
It's always so interesting because I've talked to some people who firmly believe that you leave rigor mortis in play if you're playing blow for a blow, which has become pretty common tech for I think a lot of Victor lists over the last like 3 to 4 months with Gravy being in the format. So it's interesting to see that Patrick decided to just take out the rigor mortis immediately. Kind of tells me that performance bonus might be the only piece of tech that Patrick is on.
Yeah, it's kind of it does hint towards that for sure. And blow for blow, such interesting tech as well. Just Victor getting access to just the sort of damage that only a rune blade normally gets to deal, maybe a ninja, you know? And here
For
we have
sure.
discard to a gravy activation. Our friend Chum, everyone's favorite ally. So,
Man.
I can see your face, the audience can't. Zach, what is your feeling on this card? You seem to have
So
strong ones.
I was really, really hoping that they were going to make Chum a legendary. That was my hope when they did, the BNR. And they ended up hitting tipples and stuff like that. I was really hopeful that showing off the foil conquer the high seas.
Well,
I was really hoping they were
y-
going to restrict Chum.
understandable. And we see Chart the High Seas. Why he's showing off that Conqueror is Chart the High Seas hits Rigor Mortis and Conqueror. So we get the gold, but it's not really what you want. You want to be getting the free 3 resources. You want the pitch off the top of the deck.
Hmm.
So, but we do have a fairly stocked bin full of allies. We got a lot of rum. Still got Mage Master boots. Dead Threads hasn't been the most active I've seen it in this game. I wonder, are we getting a double ally turn? Maybe something with go again. We can't use the rum. We're tapped, of course.
So Chris still has 3 cards in hand, I think.
Yeah. Looks like we're pitching a yellow as well to this Rigor Mortis. Probably not where we want to be. Potentially.
Something like a Vashti into attack with rigor mortis, pitch a blue, and threads to put Chum into play would be a very, very backbreaking turn. Because one of the bad things about being on small hammer, which I do think is correct to be on like Grindstone or Titan's Fist, is that you do not have the ability to clear Chum very easily. You end up in this like weird, awkward spot where you're not able to clear it naturally, and you're reliant on like keeping multiple cards in hand or having a cheap arsenal to be able to clear it off the board. So
But looks like Chris took the intellect penalty instead. Chum blocked out, or Rigor Mortis blocked out, and swung the hammer back into him, passing back. Not a lot has changed in the last turn, except Podrick is 3 points of life lower. At this kind of rate, eventually, this is how it happens. Gravy is just grinding away at Victor's life total. And I've often said that this matchup is kind of, you're just pushing at a dam until it breaks when you're Gravy Bones. And once that dam bursts, it's nearly impossible for the victor to grab it back.
it's very hard, and that's why I'm such a firm believer that like high rolling is one of the only ways to to win this matchup. Because if Gravy Bones goes first, they can just put an ally into play, and you're now forced to deal with it. So you need some really powerful turns where you're able to go like Zealous into like Hammer, clear 2 allies, or performance bonus into something else, or Command and Conquer Pummel is a great way to like end turns, but it's very hard against Gravy Bones to keep enough cards to where you're ending a turn with Command and Conquer Pummel, because that alone is 3 cards just with Tunic. So it can be, it's very hard to keep up in this match. we'll see how consistent Podrick is able to keep the board clear. Done a very good job of maintaining like life totals, and also keeping the board clear to this point. So we'll
It,
see. Hopefully, there's another performance bonus in Arsenal.
it looks like we're discarding another sea legs to this golden tipple. So Gravy will not be hurting for a drink in this game anyway. So that's at least 4 double ally turns locked in.
Yeah, too many is what I would say.
Well, you might say that 1 is too many.
I agree. I agree very much.
Um, no, to go back to your earlier point, I'd be curious to hear from you what you think. Oh, we have Chum hitting the board, and using the rum. So Sawbones also hitting the board. This
Hmm.
is a major problem. This is a problem. I would call this a serious issue for our Victor, especially these two.
This is the two worst ally combination that can be put into play at the same time together. Just being able to protect Chum is so tough. And this is thankfully right now Podrick does not have a seismic surge in play, but this is one of the backbreaking turns where having a seismic surge in play could really come back to haunt you because it gives Chum an active like a window to respond and like really put you in the blender in a bad spot here.
Yeah. For those fab boomers out there, that is the same thing as Arclight Sentinel. It is me. I am fab boomer. I've been playing since 21.
It, I was laughingly telling somebody the other day that I didn't care about Arclight Sentinel back in the day because I played Dash IE back then and we just had high octane, so it never mattered to me. But now it's so bad for me.
Yeah. It has 8 less life. Zach, what's the worst that could happen?
I know, right? I know.
No, I played Runeblade, so I didn't care either.
There were not that many decks that could get away with that back in the day, but there were a few. There were a few that just didn't have to care about Arclight Sentinel at all.
Yeah, Podrick taking the 6. This is what I was talking about, that floodgate breaking. Maybe we have a go again attack. If we can clear 2 allies here, it would be huge. Something like Zealous Belting into an 8, or
Hmm.
even a 6, because if we can clear the Sawbones with the first, there we go. We have the E-Strike.
Okay.
So that has to go at Sawbones. Has to. Because otherwise you have to deal 7 all of a sudden to take care of Chum.
Hmm. Yeah, E-Strike definitely playing a pivotal role in this turn. Giving us an opportunity to try and clear 2 allies is very big. Performance bonus definitely would have been just a little bit better here. Being able to clear, Sawbones, draw a card, and set up to be able to do some pretty cool stuff. But E-Strike definitely playing the role that it needs to this turn.
How about second E-Strike?
I was like, another E-Strike. I like this. We're now seeing why Podrick was so comfortable taking. I mean, comfortable is definitely a loose term here, but taking
Yeah.
damage to be able to clear both of these.
Yeah, some might say forced.
I think most people would say that.
Yeah, the classic for the less boomer, the manifestations a mirror guy hits the board, you're like, well, I'm taking 8.
I cannot tell
Because
you how many times you had to. You just felt like you had to clear it off the
if you
board. It felt so
if you
bad.
don't if you don't take 8, it's going to hit you again.
It's so accurate. So
So
noticing that
Chris
Podrick did keep a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Chris now, I think 3 cards in hand, discarded 1 to the Chum. Looks like Podrick is keeping a very close check on deck count, because that might be the win condition that we established early on. Just keep Chris off board state where at all possible,
Mm-hmm.
and just put pressure on. And seeing things like Conquer the High Seas go into the graveyard off of a Chart the High Seas certainly helps that.
It always feels very nice. Padre's also done a very good job of managing life total and managing their equipment. Being at 20, it looks like Chris is about halfway through their deck. So seeing that, I think is intuitive to me that Padre has played this matchup more than they probably cared to in the past. So doing a good job of managing life and managing equipment is very important.
Yeah. Cashing in a gold, drawing a card, and then portside exchange, replacing that gold immediately, discarding a swabby. Another another problematic ally, but one that is much easier to deal with a single card.
Mm-hmm.
The probably the best ally in High Seas Limited, in my experience, a 3 for 7, always good. That's just basic math. Michael Hamilton taught me that.
Yeah, Swabby and Rigor Mortis were two of the best like common allies you could pick up in High Seas draft. Big ones to look
I'll
for.
take your I'll take your word for it. You made it to that pro tour. I didn't make it that time.
I didn't do very well at that pro tour, but I did make it to that pro tour.
Yeah, story of my life. um, Chris planning out his turn here, I imagine, has the resources potentially to deploy 2 allies. It looks like the other one is an Anka. Looks like we're going to tip the barkeep, but Gravy, not always the most generous, has chosen not to repay the kindness that by giving that my token, not repaying the kindness by giving a gold back, declining the tip. You can tell that this is an Irish and an English player because you would never find an American player declining to tip like that.
Oh, it's always very interesting. Been to London and Singapore this year with my wife, and it's been very interesting to see how tip culture is very just an American thing for sure.
Absolutely. And here we have Swabby coming in 3 costs, coming in for 7 with the hook attached. Sure, I guess. This is like you give up a couple of cards here, I assume, and just hammer it.
Unless there's something impactful, like a performance bonus and like maybe a spinal crush, in hand to be able to try to take Chris off some tempo here. This is more than likely just block with 3 cards and hammer. Just trying to save a life here, but
Mm.
we see 1 card here that Patrick's reaching for.
It could be a defense reaction as well. Normally,
Mm-hmm.
something that you don't see a lot of into these matchups, but when you're on these kind of defensive decks, you don't really have as many options when it comes to sideboarding.
That's true. Victor definitely
I'm not,
limits you in some capacity.
yeah, it's like you maybe just have enough space to cut some of your clashes. We have a Golden Sun block and a Clash of Might. And no Clash, obviously, as we've discussed. Now with 4 gold on Chris Chalk's side, Zach, from your point of view, is it worth preventing the hook?
When there's 3 golds in play, it can be very tough. We do see Patrick with the performance bonus here from Arsenal, so it makes sense why they were willing to take some damage last turn. But it's kind of like you were talking about earlier. Once you have more than that 1, it can be not as detrimental to deny gold in certain situations. But I like to deny gold any chance that I get. It's more hand context dependent, I would say, for me than it is the board state, unless you have 0 gold.
And should be noted, this was pre-ban list recording, so there's a lot of gold flying around. Bet you don't miss those golden tipples.
I do not. I do not. It's so nice to play in a world where there's only 3 golden tipples in the deck as opposed to 9.
Yeah, it looks like it's Miller time anyway. We
So
have Miller's Grindstone coming in.
noticing
Do
that
we?
Padre still has 2 cards in hand, I'm very surprised to see what those 2 cards are.
Oh no, we've lost a clash. It's a diamond amulet.
I was like,
Thanks for
really?
drawing
We
me a
expect this
card,
nice,
bud.
but
It always feels so bad when you just banish it. You just lose a card, and it's like, oh, that's gone forever. No, we could never possibly use that.
Oh, I have to say, I am a believer that Miller's Grindstone does help you in certain situations in this matchup because if you're able to hit some like pivotal blues like tip.
We've had a slight disconnect here.
The barkeep, port side exchange, things like that. You can.
Hmm. So it looks like we are just setting up. We've cracked a gold with this Swabby and cracking a gold again. We are ally rich in hand for Chris Chalk. Probably digging for some blues to maybe
True.
get another one. All
And
right,
now we're
now
out of gold. This is
nah,
big.
now it's time to start really thinking about what we're doing. It's Chris about to Conqueror has managed to find the blues to play it.
Has there been a blue put into the bin this turn?
There has not. Surely this is I shove 8 in front of this. No gold for you, bud. Or even just crown my arsenal away.
So I was expecting crown, but the way that Podrick is blocking tells me we have another sink below.
Yeah, so we have our first win of a clash with a performance bonus of all things.
Ooh.
And thank God we have that gold in reserve.
I was like, that trounce, hitting the trounce on top feels bad. Podrick needs a big win right here.
Absolutely. Just something to get us back into this game.
Oh! A
Brutal.
favor scene. Oh my gosh, that hurts
Brutal.
so bad.
But listen, drawing on a trance is a lot better than losing a trance.
Agreed. It's very, very true. Once you
I
start
mean,
reaching to give your opponents the tokens, especially in this matchup, it's really bad.
yeah, whatever about the might and vigor, the gold would just you kept them off gold. We don't want to give them anything else. Chris, 2 cards in hand now. No blues have hit the bin. And only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 cards in the pitch zone, pitching a limpet as well as second Conqueror of the High Seas. This time with a hook, we have, I believe, made go. Have we made gold this turn even?
I do not believe so. It's been gravy activation into. I don't believe there was a card played. We gravy activation to put the chum into play, or to put the chum into the graveyard, and then it was crack some golds into double conqueror, I believe. Looks like they're
I
kind of debating resources here.
Yeah, it's always so hard over webcam, especially when you see 6 cards in a pitch zone.
For sure.
Yeah, I think this is a situation where I could see shoving a big chunk of armor. Yeah, looks like we are going to do just that. Maybe crown that arsenal away so that Gravy does not get the gold from Conqueror of the High Seas.
So there's actually a favor scene in hand. Patrick made the decision to sink below after the
Into
failed
the
clash and drew into the
into
favor
the
scene.
favors.
I am a little surprised to see them block, to see Patrick block. Okay, here we go. This makes more
Yeah,
sense
yeah,
to me. I was like, Crown of Providence and another equipment piece doesn't seem like the best here if we're going to give up the favor scene.
yeah. I feel like you save the crown for the can't block, won't block. But we know this is the last Conqueror of the High Seas in the deck as well.
Right. All right, so Patrick reaching back for the crown and the tech plating.
Crowning the card, drawing. Maybe what was in Arsenal would have been more helpful if there was an ally in play. Something like that could have been some sorts of go again. might want to keep that for later in the game. But yeah, no gold. Um, no gold made. I think, have we missed the gold baited hook being sent to the bin?
So it's like Chris is just now drawing. I was assuming
Oh, there
untapping.
we.
So,
Oh, should not have a hook.
ooh, I was like, I don't think there was a gold from last turn.
No. Again, these things are so easy to miss when you're playing on webcam. When you're playing in person, especially in something like Gravy Bones, where you take about 15,000 game actions.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we are. We here at the league, that means nothing. Condone fair play and at all times, and assume positive intent from all our players.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I was like, it's I live in a world where I've gotten so used to Talishar doing things for me that sometimes I forget things when I'm in paper.
Yeah. Plus, it means nothing. What's the point in worrying too much about it? It's in the name.
I love that this is called the league that means nothing. The first time that somebody said that to me, I was like, "What?" But I love the name so much. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's just perfect. I believe it was kind of a placeholder name for As, and then it just stuck. But here we have a golden tipple again, one we won't have to worry about in future. A red one.
I was like, "It looks like a red one," and we put a limpet into the graveyard.
Now that's an ally that Guardians don't want to see. It's just a Zephyr Needle on board.
All right, so disable, winning the test of strength here. It's a pretty big win. We've had some
Yeah.
pretty rough clash luck so far. So pretty glad to see Padra getting some value here.
And you see, Zach, this is why I brought you, because I just saw a big guy with a hammer on a card, and you were like, that's a disable. I know what that does.
I think unfortunately I know what every Guardian card does a little bit too much. I should probably play some other heroes.
Yeah, that's me and Runeblade. In Osaka, they played open archive pack and ask Ian what the card is in Japanese. And I was like, yeah, so that's this thing. And it was played very briefly in this time in like this deck. I'm like, huh, maybe I play
That's
too much
awesome.
Flesh and Blood.
That's too funny. That is too
Right,
funny.
here we go. Limpet hopping along, 2 damage. I believe one of the first allies that we really saw was Limpet as well. Kind of gave us a flavor of what some of them could do. This one doesn't come in for every matchup, but against something like Victor, it's just asking a lot to throw a real card at 1 damage.
And it's so funny because it's a card you have to deal with. Somebody once compared Limpet Hopalong to Chromai from Dromai, and I was like, you know what? That actually makes quite a bit of sense. I see the comparison there, and so it's like a must die every time it hits the board.
Yeah, it's just an action point every time. And here we have the
Ooh.
Diamond Amulet put in play as well. Just basically a time snap potion. So now we have access to 4 Rum, Mage Master Boots, and Diamond Amulet if we ever want to play multiple allies. This is fine. We're fine.
Oh, I feel like Chris is definitely playing to the strength of the late game,
Yeah.
of whittle Patrick down, put the life total down, and then late in the game, go for the kill shot where you put multiple allies into play across multiple turns and really in the game.
Now here we have a
Cranial-
Guardian card that actually has text in this matchup.
I was like, it's
Like,
so funny because, Cranial Crush does not always have like relevant text. It's not in a lot of
yeah,
matchups or even a ton of matchups over the history of Fab, I would say. But when it does matter, it's so good.
yeah, this is a card that literally says, I attack for 8 on a blue. That's it. But now it says, like, nice gold you got there. Chris taking the 8.
Wow. Has Chris blocked one time this game?
I, I, I'll have to get a VOD review with Podrick just to make sure, but I don't believe so. Just been like, yeah, it's not my problem. Here goes Limpet hopping along.
Mm.
Two go again, showing that Chrome Eye comparison again. Like I said, generates an action point, which you don't get on any other ally.
Ooh, a
A
Vast
Vast
G.
G. Chris selecting from his many allies, which one will I attack you with? Sawbones coming in, 6 go again, 2 floating. Really, I think you gotta say, Podrick is behind the 8 ball right now.
It definitely feels that way. With Limpet in play, Sawbones in play, and having access to basically 6 turns of just extra action points or go again whenever you would like it is terrifying. It is a terrifying place to be. And I think there's a chum in the yard as well. So Chris probably following up with a chum. Ooh, Patrick down to 10, just taking 6.
Yeah, knows there is more allies. Oh god, here go the Mage Master boots too.
Yeah.
Knows that there's more allies coming. Just yeah, and out comes Chum as well. Right
These are the
now,
turns that are terrifying.
yeah, the third ally. You're just buried in value at this point. Which is crazy to think about. Like a year ago, we were talking about how much value Victor was getting off his clashes. Basically made Ninja unplayable.
It was a very interesting meta. The KO like Victor and Katsu triangle during that time
Mm,
was a very, very interesting meta. Um and yeah, I mean Victor almost reduced to rubble at this point with how impactful Gravy Bones is.
yeah, like I was playing KO back then, and those Victor KO games were so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had someone start teaching me Scabskins math, and then they got really interesting.
See, looks like Patrick thinking about blocking with 2 cards here. And we know that
Surely,
Patrick's Arsenal cannot be the last performance bonus. We saw it win off of a clash and go to the bottom off of that trounce earlier. So curious to know, Patrick was willing to take 8 damage this turn, and could have blocked a little bit here. Ooh, going to 6?
going
Wow.
to 6 is a big problem when we know there's a Whaler Humperdinck at any point could just drop down and make your day miserable.
So curious to see if Chris responds with the chum here.
Yeah, are we going to block at all? Who knows? Who knows if there's any allies in the deck? We've seen so many of them already.
There was a turn where they pitched quite a few, I believe.
That's true.
So there's probably a couple left.
Yeah, Chris is compassing in response to the surge. Might be an ally on top of the deck. I mean, the deck is pretty thin. That that is one thing when you pitch that many allies as well. You do give yourself that situation late in the game where if you aren't blocking super heavily, you might end up in a situation where you just can't.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a chum pitched to the chum. A second chum has hit the bin.
This is going back to that crucial spot earlier where we were talking about, Chum and Sawbones in the game at the same time together, like one of the most devastating places you can be in as the victor player. Because there's potential for there to have been a hand that clears 2 or 3 allies here, depending on what Patrick drew into. But now sequencing could change everything. Having to attack
Yeah,
different allies in different orders can make things very awkward.
very briefly saw her look like head in hands. I'm sure it's a familiar feeling to you when you're jamming Victor and someone cues in Gravy Bones. You're like, oh, here we
So
go again.
So Okay, so Patrick is on blow for a blow. Interesting. I feel like the layers to this onion just keep getting unraveled.
Just haven't been seeing them. So
It makes
we
more
have,
sense why she was willing to leave the limpet in play now. You know, being one of the blow for blow targets is very impactful.
yeah, and if you target Limpet here, it means Sawbones is tapped if Chris decides to save the Limpet. I assume you
Hmm.
just have to let it go. From my point of view, I would just be like, yeah, Limpet's dead. We'll move on.
With Chum already being activated, if Chris activates Sawbones and protects the limpet, then Patrick is able to kill the limpet from there with a hammer or with virtually anything, and that could actually buy Patrick a turn of reprieve.
It looks like we do, in fact, have the Sawbones activation.
Okay.
So that is keeping Limpet alive. We go E-Strike here into Chum again, clearing him entirely.
Hmm.
Now, a second blow for a blow right now would be kind of gross. We can't have that, unfortunately.
That would be a little too great at this moment, I think.
Uh, I feel like Victor should be allowed at this rate. Uh, the way this game has gone,
Curious to
you know,
see what
that's your.
Patrick hits here.
I feel like you could hit the limpet, but you have to hit the sawbones because if another chum hits the field, great,
This
cool,
is
good.
Yeah, this is you're really on which side of the sword do you want to sit on here? Because that limpet generates an action point next turn, but the sawbones, like you said, there's another chum just staring at us. Patrick does go with
We've
the limpet.
decided, yeah, decided taking the turn of reprieve where sawbones is not attacking. And there's no surge, so there's no priority pass. A
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Podrig's lovely daughter.
And I believe Crystal has 3 cards in hand, correct?
Yeah, quite a lot still to play. Card and Arsenal. 1 gold. Not a lot in the deck, though. There is not a lot of deck going on right now. But here we have an Avasti, Pitch Eye of Ophidia for Anka, Drag Under. This is an ally that has kind of disappeared off the face of the earth in current Gravy Bones builds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people were just playing it because the rate was good, in my opinion.
No, that makes sense. It had some, avenues of attack. I feel like depending on what your opponent was playing, but it feels like Gallo has probably just been a little bit of a better upgrade for the Gravy Bones deck since this was recorded.
Oh, yes. Gallo, I have started picking up a couple copies of that just in case I ever feel like going back to Gravy. But man, let me tell you, that deck makes my head hurt sometimes. And sometimes I'll just be like, what if I played Syndra? What if I didn't have to think about it so hard?
I know, right? I know. It's funny that you bring that up because I'm actually playing Cinder tonight on my stream. Um,
Well,
since it won
I'll be in
calling
chat.
Shizuka. All right, I'm here for it. I love it. Um,
Uh, no, Syndra's still good, baby. Drawing
just want a
cards is good.
calling. I
Flick
just
Knives is
want a
good.
calling.
Big shout out to all my haters who never listen to me. You're always wrong. I was telling people Syndra's good. Earth is back, Syndra's good. Viscera is good in LL, and then Nova Chan wins the Battle Hardened in Shizuoka. I'm just like, people should just listen to me. Not about how to play the game, but about what's good in the game.
Hey, if you can pick heroes that are good, there are plenty of people that I'm sure are happy to play the decks. If you'll point them in that direction. There's definitely been
Yeah.
times where I would have been happy to have someone telling me to go in the right direction.
Well, I'll tell you what. Uh, First time I met Az was at Worlds in Barcelona, and the deck I brought to that Worlds was Fi.
Okay.
I got run over, but like I didn't see a single Droma or Icelander in my matchups.
I
But
know.
I felt good about that one, especially when some people I respect greatly, friends of yours, the card guys, decided Bravo was definitely the pick into the Dromai Icelander meta.
Yeah, I know. I know Ed was playing a lot of Bravo back then. I think him and I actually played at a Battle Harden where I was playing Icelander and he was playing Bravo.
Yeah, you could pry his Bravo from his cold dead hands though.
It's so true. It's so accurate. Love Ed.
We are. Oh no, that
Oh,
double give no quarter.
this
Um,
this might end the game.
yeah. So Humperdinck's going to be attacking for free, well, for 6, and then with the Diamond Amulet or the Rum or whatever, and a Vasti, sure, maybe. Who cares? But here we have Dink coming in for 6,
So Willer
uh,
Humperdinck comes in for
costing 6.
11 and Hadrick's at 6.
This isn't good. I would categorically, I think we can state that this is bad.
This is honestly from here. This is probably when you start to see the writing on the wall. This is when it starts to
Yeah,
look pretty rough.
this Humperdinck that's been sitting in the graveyard since basically the start of the game, just a
Hmm.
ticking time bomb. Because there's not a lot of 2-card plays that get you out of this one.
For sure.
God, we need a big win on this trance.
We
We
don't
need
even
a
get to
big.
clash because it's
Oh,
an
you're so
ally.
right.
It's the worst part. It's the worst part. We just have cards in our deck that just say block 3. They're the worst.
Josh. LSS, someone. That man has a family. Victor has a
Exactly.
family. We now know Victor has a family. We've seen it.
I think in a world where Guardian has no other way to interact with Gravy Bones, like they do Dromai or, Prism with poppers and things like that. I think errata, I think hitting the errata on the Clash cards for allies is actually like not that bad. Think that I don't know if it adds some points to the matchup. Probably still not good,
Let
but it adds some points.
And we have a chum and board as well. Sure, why not? Okay, cool. This is fine. Um, this is a bad time. I would say it's a bad time. And yeah, I agree that maybe it just makes the matchup playable.
Hmm.
Not good.
I would settle for playable at this point.
Yeah, no, it's not where you want to be. And I'm sure, like I said earlier, this is not an unfamiliar board state to you.
Unfortunately, it is not.
I think you play a bunch of Syndra.
Oh no, just swinging the hammer
Yeah.
at
Well,
Anka. Oh man, that's
and Chris just getting the free value, discarding a limpet to the Anka as well.
I think that might be the writing on the wall here.
Yeah, this is like I said, Sisyphus pushing that boulder up a hill, Ahab chasing the white whale. There's nothing left here but just defiance. That's all you've got.
Yeah, those rum
I mean,
tokens that we were talking about on like turns 1, 2, and 3. Early in the game when Chris was setting these up, really coming back. All the way. It's coming full circle here where Chris is able to 11 go again, and it was 11 go again on the last turn. So he's just, whew, it's I,
yeah,
I think
I
this
I
might be
know
all she wrote.
I know we haven't seen it, but like, big shout out to our winner of this round, Chris Chalk. Ain't it's all over but the crying.
3 cards coming out here.
Oh, we got a sink below. Thinking about using the block on the gauntlets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because gets followed up by the 4 as well. Yeah, so 10 block, sinking a card. I mean, you are allowed to take game actions. You are. Okay. We are calling to the grave as well.
Man, because 11 wasn't enough.
Listen, some people are just addicted to game actions. I don't know what to tell you.
This Swabby will end the game with only one card in hand.
Nope. A limpet comes in, activation of dead threads to pay for the limpet, coming in for 2, which will be followed up by a chum for 4. Yeah,
Yep.
that is a big win for Gravy Bones, as we
Phew.
could have predicted.
I,
Congratulations, Chris. Commiserations, Podrick. I can't say it was unexpected. But yeah, that's all there is to it. That's kind of the matchup, I would say. Would you agree?
thank God we are in a post 9 Tipple world. I am so glad for that because watching this game, I feel like it unlocked this level of PTSD that I've been trying to repress.
Yes. So thank you, as always, to all our sponsors. And I hope you like this video. If you like the video, make sure you like the video down below. Get into the comments. Say a big thank you to AgroBlaze96 for coming on to the League That Means Nothing. And while you're down there, make sure you're subscribed, have your notifications turned on so you get all of the notifications for every video that Az puts out on Go Again Gaming, especially the League That Means Nothing. Now, Mr. Blaze, I believe, is your official title, or Bandana Man. I've wanted to do this bit all day, so I'm just going to. I have 3 questions for you here on Go Again Gaming. Uh, who are you? What got you into Flesh and Blood? And in the spirit of the channel we're on, what is your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Oh, let's go. I love this. So my name's Zach. My name is Zach Phillips, or Bandana Man, whatever you want to call me. If you turn around, I'll answer it. What got me into Flesh and Blood? I was playing Magic at like an open event they were having, and I was 5-0, and I finished the day 5-3 to miss day 2 after playing 3 unwinnable matchups in a row, and that like sealed the deal on my Magic career. I played in the Battle Hardened the next day, having like barely any Flesh and Blood practice. And I have never looked back since. Love Flesh and Blood is my favorite game. And my favorite alcoholic beverage. Ooh, this is a good one. You're gonna laugh because I'm a big fan of like what most people would call girly drinks. It's probably a mudslide or a Miami Vice. I love the fruity drinks.
Hey, first one in Philadelphia is on me. And
Let's
where can the
go.
lovely people find you?
Oh, absolutely. YouTube.com/AgroBlaze96. Or if you're looking for me on pretty much any platform, it's AgroBlaze96. I've tried to make me as easy as possible to find.
Awesome. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Findles_Spirit or on Blue Sky at FindlesSpirit.bsky.social. That's everything we have for you today, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.